So we're going to start at the library homepage briefly here. Your research in Journalism 360 will be, for your paper, will be fairly academic research. And so I'm going to try to show you some sources that will help you with your paper. But before we go to the research guide I've created for that purpose, I wanted to stop at the library homepage to show you about the lockers we now have for picking up books. You click more and you'll find information about the services that are available during COVID. If you click on View All Hours, while we're not open, the building is not open, librarians are available for chat several hours a day. And when we are not available, there are librarians from a global consortium available to help you. So you should have help 24 hours a day. There are many ways to get into the collections we have here, but I wanted to start with the research guides. I wanted to go to the research guide that I've created for this class. So when I click on research guides, I'll go down to journalism and public relations, and then click on journalism and public relations. And then we'll go to Journalism 360. And what I've tried to do is to break this page down into whether you need a law, you have a law, or you want to develop your own law. And so there's 3 tabs here under the Policy Research Strategies. And along with that on the page, I've also listed the databases that you may want to use. You may also want to use the OneSearch box, the OneSearch that is on the library homepage, and that's here. There are videos on brainstorming keywords, and we'll talk about some of the other stuff in a minute. But if you're starting with finding your own law, I wanted you to know that there's an interactive presentation that one of my colleagues has done that walks you through this process. It's not a super straightforward, it's not something we do every day, and so it's a good presentation to watch. You can also explore some databases that will give you articles about laws, and from there you can then go and find the specific law. The databases that I suggest are listed here: Academic Search Complete, CQ Researcher, Opposing Viewpoints, 2 on Congressional Publications and Hearings, and Westlaw, which is a legal database. Academic Search Complete will give you articles about laws. CQ Researchers and Opposing Viewpoints have reports and reference information on laws, as well as on social issues, and you'll see some videos down below on using those 2 databases. In Westlaw, you can search directly for laws or statutes, or you could also look for law review journal articles about laws. And again, in congressional hearings and publications, you'll find reports and laws. A couple of examples. For instance, CQ Researcher has a fairly recent report on net neutrality, one on artificial intelligence, one on privacy in the internet, and one on the 5G revolution. Opposing Viewpoints also has a piece on net neutrality, including the regulatory history of it, and a very recent piece on privacy. These databases have different types of information in them, but what I did is I put in here some specific journals that might be helpful to you in your research. One of those is the Ethics and Information Technology and the Journal of the Association for Information Science and Technology. Those are both in the ABI Inform database. The Journal of Information Technology is an Academic Search Complete. ACM is a computer science database. It's a broad one, and it includes, for example, a Journal of Law and Policy for the Information Society. Business Source Premier is a database that looks at things mostly, the research looks at things mostly from a business perspective. It includes the Government Information Quarterly. Communication and Mass Media Complete includes Information and Communications Technology Law. And then there's the Congressional Publications and Congressional Hearings database. And Global Newsstream has news articles. Public Administration Abstracts is going to look at things from a governmental perspective, research from a governmental perspective. Science Direct will include information from articles from a more scientific perspective. And then Westlaw, as I mentioned, is a database that is a legal database. I've also included here a real simple worksheet that gives you common examples of APA citations, so that when you're doing your APA citations, you have a quick reference point. I'm going to stop for a moment and show you Westlaw. That there are videos here for many of the other databases, but Westlaw is one that I don't have a specific video on, and so I'm going to spend just a moment or two in that one. So in Westlaw, you can look for court cases, statutes, statutes is another word for laws, regulations, which is another type of law, proposed and enacted legislation, proposed and adopted regulations. You can look at things federally, and you can look at things by the states. You can also find news. Oh, and there's also secondary sources, which is the law review articles, which are very important. And I just want to show you, because this database is set up a little bit differently than some of the others. So I'm going to try social media, and section 230, which is a very controversial section of the Communications Decency Law. And note I put the "and" in caps. That's important so that the search engine does not try to find the word "and." So if I look here, it says there's 267 cases. There are 41 statutes, 50 regulations, 1,400 administrative decisions, 185 secondary sources, proposed and enacted legislation. So you can easily kind of filter through these. And there isn't a lot of way other than this to filter some of the other databases. If you look at the videos, you'll see that there's quite a few ways to filter. But we're going to try statutes and court rules here. And so it's going to give you the title of the law. It's going to give you the text of the law. Etc. If I wanted to look at, if I'm going to go back here and I wanted to look at secondary sources, what I'm going to find are a lot of law review articles. Law reviews are not peer-reviewed, but they're scholarly. They're usually done by very advanced law students with supervision from their professors. And so here you can get a lot of analysis of laws, analysis of how they're being implemented, where the shortcomings in them are, etc. And with most of these, they're almost all full text. You can email them to yourself, etc. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a step up in how to use the database Westlaw.